Welcome, 8th graders, to the screencast for Wednesday, March 22. I'm looking at my calendar down there. Yes, this is right. But in this screencast, we're going to finish up the MLA formatting, the cell phone report. And today's activities are probably less rigorous. From a monotony standpoint, too, you will not be typing as you did yesterday. So what you're looking at now is my copy of the paper that you typed in yesterday. Okay, the stuff that's in blue, except for that header up there, is stuff that you have already typed, and I have shared this very document with you. Okay, and what I would like you to do is to take all of the text that's not blue from here on. Okay, and instead of having you type it, you can copy and paste it. You can copy and paste it from this document into your document. Now, be advised, as I'm scrolling here, page 3, page 4, page 5, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to highlight, okay? But this is simulating you typing in the rest of it without having to go through the process of doing that. So, you're going to want to highlight all of this text just like that and copy and paste it from this document that I shared with you into yours. So most kids are going to right-click and choose copy, and then click back into your Documents tab, and then paste it into the same place that you see it in the little screencast here, right? It should be a blank line after Stockwell B8 right here, and then paste it here, and you'll have the rest of the body, okay? So do that now, and if you have to pause briefly, then go ahead and do that. And now that you're back from the copy-paste, you're welcome. We're going to teach you how to do what's called a block indent. Okay, a block indent occurs in this instance where you have taken somebody else's words word for word out of a document. Okay, some of these other resources that I've thrown at you, they've been paraphrased. Okay, you've taken their idea and you put it into your document, but you haven't done it word for word. So this is a different type of citing a resource that is a word-for-word copy out of a different document, and you need to offset that, and then of course note that in your works cited. So anyhow, we're going to scroll down on page 2, and at the bottom of page 2, this paragraph right here that ends the page, it says, "We found that using a cellular telephone." Okay, that is a direct quote, somebody else's words from some other document. And so in MLA format, to indicate that, what we do is we use a block indent on each side of 1 inch. Okay, now some of the formats are going to have you justify that as well. And it looks like mine's already justified. Okay, when you copy paste this, yours won't be justified to start with. But here is how you perform that block indent. Okay, you highlight the region just like I have, and you're going to look at these two little marks up here. Okay, this first mark is the first line indent. Okay, the second mark is for all other lines in the paragraph. All right, the object of the game is to get both of these aligned at the 1 inch mark. Okay, because when you do a block indent, you don't indent the first line of the paragraph. Okay, so it's kind of tricky. I'm going to take that top first line indent and drag it out to the 1 inch mark. Okay, now be careful when you drag this triangle, they're both going to move. All right, but don't worry, we can slide the other one back. I'll drag this out to 1 inch and then drag this one back. It can move independently. So it really doesn't matter if you do it in that order, but you have to get both of those lined up at the 1 inch mark, and you'll see what happens down below. You get a really nice, clean left indent of that entire block. Okay, now let's not be mixed up with margins. This is not a margin change. This is called an indent. An indent differs from a margin because an indent occurs only to a section, whereas a margin, if you change a margin, that affects the whole paper. So, all right, sweet. On the other side, this little triangle is marked currently at, looks like almost 6.5 here. It should be at the 6.5 inch mark because you have a 1 inch margin all the way around. So the object of the game is to drag this guy back to the 5.5 inch mark. I think I've got it pretty well square. And then you want to click the justify button to justify that block quote. Okay, now as I scroll down, I might notice that that has spilled onto page 3, but that's okay. The next paragraph after that is formatted correctly because that's not part of the block quote, and we continue on. Okay, so again, that is for a direct quotation, somebody else's words, word for word. So September next year, you might not remember exactly that rule, but I hope that you remember how to do a block indent, okay? Because it's really not that hard, and it's a format you're going to use. All right, last but not least, all of these resources that you have found online and quoted or used their idea in your paper here must be accounted for in what's called a works cited page. A works cited page is a summary of all of the resources that you used in your paper, right? Because in a research paper, you're not writing all your own words, you're backing it up with somebody else's proof. And so the way that you get this page break is to leave your cursor after vehicles on that line, and we go to Insert and choose Page Break. And you get an automatic page break, and this is where your works cited belongs. Okay, your works cited page, I'm going to give you a nice copy paste here. Okay, in addition to that other rest of the body that lets you copy paste, I have shared the works cited page. Okay, it says works cited at the top. It looks like you're seeing on this screen, and then each of these works cited is a reference either to a book article, a magazine article, something you found online that substantiates what you wrote. And so imagine you had to type in your works cited page. In 9th grade you will, and you'll have to follow the format that your teacher gives you. For now, I'm more concerned that you understand how to format it. And so for now, take this works cited page that I've given you, copy it from mine, and then just paste it onto that new page that I had you put in. Okay. I noticed my format is not right. It's an Arial 11, so you're going to want to switch that over to. I had initially told you Georgia 12, so if you did that, that's the font you want, or Times New Roman. Both are cool. So imagine what you did. You typed in each of these individual references one by one. And in MLA format, these are the authors. Len Bestoff, okay? And in an MLA format, you must list these in alphabetical order. Farmers Insurance Group, that's your next note, okay? Next article was written by Christine Howney, okay, and so on. So I'm highlighting the author's name so you understand how the format looks, right? Each of these authors was from an online resource you did. All right, works cited page, formatting it, okay? That works cited should be centered. I did not mean to do that. So we can center that, okay, nothing else special. And these these works cited references should be created with what is called a hanging indent, okay? So you heard this first here, probably never heard of a hanging indent before. But in a hanging indent, the first line starts on the margin, and the rest of the lines are indented a half an inch. And here's how you swing this one. Okay, remember that first line indent marker, right? That little line right there? That guy we want to leave right on the mark here, but the little triangle we want to move out to the half-inch mark. Okay, now remember, if you move the triangle, they're both going to move. So if we drag the triangle to the half-inch mark, notice they both move. Okay, and then to fix the first line so it stays on the edge, okay, that little dash at the top, the first line indent marker must be dragged back to that little cut point between the, the gray and the white right here in our ruler. All right, that is a nice, clean hanging indent. And then it should be double spaced, so we want to turn that on. All right, see how that line starts here and the rest hang underneath it? That's why it's called a hanging indent. Right? Looks like everything after that first line is hanging underneath the other lines. All right, so your works cited page looks like it goes to page 7 or so, but that's a sweet looking works cited page. That is all, folks.